Так, стримчик. Стримчик должен начинаться. Уже. Вроде как. Сейчас пока включу ноутбук на всякий случай. Так, все. Вроде все. Вроде все. Все, заходим. Так. Пу-пу-пам. Что у нас? Все в сборе? Мы все в сборе? Ирина, вы здесь? Я просто проглядел. Вот. Эти штучки проглядел. Она вот опять не хочет. Не хочет работать. Так, вспомнить все. Зачем я хожу с болторезом? У меня еще куча навыков нераспределенных. Ну да, вот так. Все. Я пока это... Канистру, наверное, можно продать будет. Так, ладно. Я тут шутку придумал. Как там? Если я усну и проснусь через 100 лет, и меня спросят, чем же занимается Максим и Ирина, я вам отвечу: проходит диско-иллюзия. Ладно. Так, я как помню, все обходили, обсмотрели. Так, там были, тут были. Начнем с детей. Дети обычно безобидные в этой игре. В кавычках. Тем более про броню, чтобы узнать, нужно там с какой-то девочкой поговорить. Какое-то очучение. Так, детишки. А эту штуку я не трогал. Надо потрогать. Я потому что ходил без пакета. Можешь пройтись теперь везде с пакетом по-быстрому. Может, поэтому я не подсвечивал бутылочки. А, кстати, туда вдаль я разве ходил? Нет, не ходил. Не помню, что ходил куда-то вдаль. Церковь. Задание церковь. Церковь. Денег у меня все больше и больше. Это очень радует. Может, мне хватит на кроссовки с радио? Рано или поздно. Медленно, наверное, согласен. Куда торопиться-то? Еще бы не забывать некоторые нюансы игры, когда изо дня в день Я не стал разговаривать с детьми, потому что я еще тогда хотел все исследовать. Я думал, тогда все исследовали, а оказывается нет. Кто-то здесь сжег костер. Тихо, тихо. Это что? Это что? Но мы не будем наш галстук ни в коем случае менять. Он внутреннюю империю добавляет. Чё? Не-не. Тем более грубая сила и так у нас нету. 0 грубой силы. У меня аллергия на надушенный шарф. Прикольно. Куча одежды всякой разной. Эмпатия, логика. Так не люблю вещи, которые занижают какой-то параметр. Просто сразу не хочется их использовать. А можно, интересно, вдруг не стало? Основа-то совсем неудобно. Мостики для прогулок. Так, я точно там все посмотрел. Фауст, не роняй ноутбук. Не роняй ноутбук, пожалуйста. У меня нет другого. Запомни, коты бесплатные, а ноутбук денег стоит. Еще вещи. Еще вещи. Рубашка пола. Риторика, эмпатия. А это у нас концептуализация. Ну нет, концептуализацию продавать ни в коем случае нельзя. Я же арт-коп все-таки. Я уже хочу во всякие штуки заходить, но нет, еще исследуем. Еще исследуем. Какой большой тут этот... Большой район довольно-таки. Бутылочки.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. It's a guano-encrusted jacket, and you're already carrying around enough as it is.
Эй! То, что ты говоришь, это не значит, что я ее не возьму. Где? А, я ее взял, но...
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Somehow, it was carried or dragged to the boardwalk. If not by human hands, then perhaps the feral dogs that prowl the beaches at night. The faint impressions of many footprints are also present, though it's impossible to tell what kind or how many. Suffice to say, the jacket spent some time on the ground before someone draped it over the railing. The crust is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. Who knows what happened to it then? It's too late. You've already thought about it, and now your hands are covered in muck. What? No. Then it'll just be on your pants.
Точно.
This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out.
Я еще теперь воняю обосранной курткой. Класс. Типа. Еще очки. Мега ботан. И что будет добавлять, логику или энциклопедию? А еще карточка. Потом почитаем. Энциклопедия, но уменьшает восприятие. Ну как это смотрится? Нет, мы останемся при своем. Пока что. Визуальный анализ важен. Мы же коп. Все-таки мы коп. Баблёшечки. Почти. Надо 50 штук, чтобы купить кроссовки. Чтобы отдали радио, чтобы я послушал песню. А спать я буду под лодкой.
The smell. It's awful and familiar. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Мертвый человек.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Так, ладно, сейчас посмотрим везде, а потом будем смотреть труп.
lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Еще одно дело с трупом.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe.
Окружающая обстановка.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Так, осмотреть обертку
Grabowski
жвачки.
spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
Это похоже на несчастный случай. Предварительная версия.
Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
In a ditch off a road below the 881, he thinks. A young father. Then he shakes his head to make the memory stop. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Ладно, ладно.
It feels disrespectful. They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Так, смотреть.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no. This sounds terribly familiar.
О, нет, серьезно? Какая печаль. Пьяница, который... Это муж той женщины у книжного. Надеюсь, Ирина, вы это все видите с зависающим интернетом на ноутбуке.
You find some sunflower seeds and a
Вступительный
rain-soaked
билет.
library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole.
Он типа провалился в дырку, споткнулся, получается, и ударился.
A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband?
В кожаной куртке понятно. Кожаная куртка с синим подкладом не по погоде. Все, погнали.
The bright blue lining? Well, he's definitely someone's husband.
Да все, я уже кучу опыта получил. Ким, давай, не тупи. Что тут, по-твоему, произошло? Давай,
Death
расскажи
by
мне.
misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Нет, это не связано с линчеванием. Да, конечно, он был пьян.
Oh yes.
Не.
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior.
Вот respiratory depression это вообще самое отстойное при алкоголизме. Надо прекращать.
But I think that death arose through head trauma, not liver failure. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues.
Конечно, мы сами все сделаем. Взяться за дело.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
Все, окей. Ну что, приятель, жди, скоро мы тебя отсюда заберем. Бутылки забирать нельзя? Не можно? Не можно забирать бутылки. У нас... О, чё? Ну, только что было же. Ну, давай. Пахнет самогоном. Прикольно. Так, у нас 3 очка. 3 очка опыта. Мы их пока никуда не будем тратить. Не, я бы, конечно, потратил, но не уверен до конца. Так, билет.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Билли Мажан. Межан.
Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased or his family member.
Так, перевернуть.
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55 211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Как хорошо, что у меня есть концептуализация, которая меня лечит сознание, когда я вижу что-то такое. Ах, какой насыщенный вторник у нас сегодня. Давайте с этим разберемся, не будем пока тут торопиться со всеми задачами. Сходим сейчас. А могу ли я как-то перемещаться по-быстрому? Нет, не могу. Было бы удобно, если бы я какой-нибудь переместился, например. Просто я помню, что мне писали, у вас открылось быстрое перемещение. Но как это работает? Непонятно, ладно. Мы пойдем к машине. Но сначала мы...
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change.
А кому мы можем позвонить?
You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable.
Вот, давайте попробуем.
Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this?
Тихо.
End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre? Is that you, Pierre? So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died. Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects.
Я
You get a
попытался.
sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not.
Все, хватит звонить по случайным номерам. Ничего хорошего из этого пока не получается. Потом как-нибудь без Кицураги позвоним по случайному. Это от одиночества, алло. Звонить. Что там на том? Как на тот берег попасть? Да не ты.
Yes?
Я что-то не помню этого куска опять. Я становлюсь все богаче и богаче. Карта сохранения, это хорошо.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
It's safe to assume this is their leader, or at least he thinks he is.
Все потом, пацаны.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
We should ask that girl on the ice what's going on here.
Давай потом. У меня есть дело. Так, бабла вообще просто немерено уже у меня. Просто немерено бабла. Собственно, отражение. Меня смотрит. Не надо. Так, сначала поговорим с женой, а потом позвоним, чтобы жена побольше нам информации про тело дала. А потом наберем участок. Я неправильно как-то бегу, да? Не видно ничего. Ничего не видно. Ее нету. Значит, будем звонить.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Hold on, officer.
Сейчас в библиотеку позвоним. Инфы побольше узнаем.
I've got Central Jamrock Public Library on the line, and I've already introduced you to their librarian. Connecting the code in 2, 1.
Да, я думаю, да, почему нет? А как вы считаете, стоит ли? Ну, типа, я знаю, что можно спать вот на этой скамейке, но тут снег и дождь. А под лодкой хотя бы нет снега и дождя. Да, Фауст? Да, малыш. Вот Фауст вообще без постели спит. Где попало? И ничего. Ну, конечно, Фауст не 40-летний или сколько там нашему герою. Мужик, у которого алкоголизм и проблемы с башкой. Просто спать в постели неудобно. Может быть, на лодке под лодкой будет удобнее, чем в этой холодной, как сказать, холодной неудобной постели, пропитанной потом. Ну, у меня такая логика сейчас. Он под этой лодкой не навсегда. Сейчас важнее дело. А лишние деньги не помешали бы. Можно попробовать один раз поспать под лодкой. Если он после этого не умрет и будет себя чувствовать относительно неплохо, то может спать под лодкой. Но я тогда не буду ничего тратить. Если же ему после этого будет плохо и тяжело, то будем спать в отеле дальше.
Yes, this is Central Jamrock Public Library here. How can I help you, officer?
He sounds worried, yet ready to assist. This is how people get when the police call.
Billy Majon, you said. Give me a moment, I'll have to check our database. Yes, hello, are you still there? I found Billy Majon's home address, is that alright? No phone number, unfortunately.
They're too poor to have a phone line.
Here we go, sir. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33B, apartment number 20. It's in Martinez, I believe. Cape Side Apartments, it says. That's all.
33Б, квартира 20.
That's where the smoker on the balcony lives, isn't it?
It says here that they returned their last book just a few days ago, but I wasn't at work that day. Happy we could help. Goodbye, officer.
Anything else you need from me?
Пока нет.
57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering.
Так, пойдемте поговорим с ней, а потом будем... Ну, типа, если мы будем браться за дело, надо побольше информации иметь, чтобы сразу же как вывалить информацию. Там что-то есть. В смысле, там что-то есть.
The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded marks are too degraded to draw any forensic conclusions. Just chips in the sandstone. They look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. Yes, the one that happened half a century ago. Those bullets were fired during the revolution and do not warrant an investigation by officers of civil law. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Shall we go?
Немножко опыта срубили, окей. А как попасть под здание? Туда, вниз, вовнутрь. Ладно, видимо, никак пока что. То есть под зданием в подвале что-то есть. Мы топаем в 20-ю... Да что с тобой?
What have we here? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True. They never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Revachol looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all. It's nothing to worry about. Shall we?
Эх, без опыта. Надо было сказать, что круче меня только яйца. Чё-то я... Привет, киса. Как дела? Так, мы так и ничего не можем тут сделать, да?
Just an ordinary war. Nothing to see here.
Да, пока ничего. 20-я квартирка мне нужна. Да, киса, 20-я квартирка. Что-то коты начали у меня жить. Начал стоять с открытой дверью, стали у меня тусоваться в основном. Типа так нравится новая комната, как будто бы никогда здесь не были. Непонятно. Киса. А киса болеет. Она скушала какой-то фантик или что-то в этом духе. Ее постоянно тошнит. И он никак не выйдет. Артем что-то ей дает. Если не поможет, будет очень плохо. Она сегодня совсем ничего не кушала. Но при этом она отдыхает все так же, как обычно. Немножко двигается, как обычно. Она всегда была такая немножко меланхоличная. Но когда надо побегать, то побегать она может. А Фауст дурак. Мусорщик. Воришка и обманщик. Так, это у нас выход. А это какая квартира?
A weathered brown door. The number reads 20.
Да, это она.
Something smells good. Soup à l'oignon.
Класс, луковый суп.
The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock. This is the door. You already know it's the right door.
Будет тяжело.
Don't knock! Just leave! You don't need this! You don't need to sad it up!
You're right. Let's talk this through.
You hear light footsteps passing by the door and some folk music playing on the radio.
Сообщать людям плохие новости.
Chances are that whoever is going to greet us behind that door is somehow related to the deceased. This means that our job here is to deliver the death notification, as well as identify the body. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary.
Никаких соскочить.
Dead? Just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't.
Это точно.
Good advice.
Что если я не хочу этого делать? Просто спрашиваю.
Yes, it's hard. But there is no easy way to handle this information. It just has to happen. As soon as possible.
lieutenant motions towards the door.
Hello? Who is it?
And someone turns down the radio.
The police. A moment, please give us a moment.
Tidying up, nervously. There's fear in her voice.
Come in, the door is open.
Есть у меня на эмпатию всякие штуки. Мне сейчас нужна эмпатия по максимуму просто. А лично мне нужны силы. Полицейский. Ставить. Логика. Эмпатия. Очки на эмпатию берем. Не говорить глупостей, но уметь сопереживать. Это важно. Вернее, уметь чувствовать. Примерно уметь чувствовать. Прям внутри все переворачивается. Это ж просто игра, Максим, соберись. Ладно. Будь профессионалом. Будь профессионалом. А мы сначала вас обворуем. Тикающие часы просто ненавижу вообще. Прям музыка такая. Здравствуйте. У меня слезы заворачиваются. Оттягиваем момент.
It's you from the book stand. Did you come to bring my cockatoo back? I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here. He must feel vulnerable without his glasses. Is this why he's letting you take the lead?
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what. No, this is something much worse. Is he in a hospital? How bad is it?
How about some small talk before you break the news? Definitely no small talk. This isn't the time or place.
Вот, я же говорю.
You've done this before. Just keep your focus. Yes, that's the most important thing. Use that word. No euphemisms. This is what you came here for.
What did you say? Oh. Oh. But he was just...
But he was just here, alive.
We understand this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. Take your time, ma'am.
What happened to him?
Стоит ли ей врать? Или сказать так, как есть? Нет, скажу так, как есть. Какой смысл?
Was he drunk? I see. And you just found him there, lying in the cold. How long had he been there?
If you say 2 days maybe, it will be etched in her mind forever. She blinks, eyes welling up with tears, as her hand starts searching for something from the pockets of her dress.
Here.
No. I just need to tell my girls. God, should I call them? Should I tell them to come home?
No. A day.
Good. That's probably the right thing. Thank you. Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him?
We've taken him to the city morgue. The local coroner will be
Но мы еще
contacting
не
you
забрали.
shortly to arrange the funeral.
Мы сейчас его
Here's his
заберем.
number in case you want to contact him earlier. Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still... Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'll call if...
We should step outside and talk.
Что-то как-то жестко.
You did well.
Ну как, дурак что ли?
I'll call the station when we're finished with the day and let them know the name of the deceased. They'll manage.
They have to. It's not your place to live their lives.
That's it. We should get back to our case now that our duty here is done. Let's go.
Вот так вот раскрываются дела. Почему у меня эта куртка? А, не вот эта куртка. А, понятно. Из визуального анализа. Не, я все равно пойду до мотокареты, я хочу сам позвонить. Че ты позвонишь? Я позвоню. Ладно, сейчас пойдем к той палатке, где сидят люди. Поскольку мы уже с ними начали что-то там говорить. Будем продолжать. Или все-таки до детишек дойдем. Потому что кто-то из них должен знать про броню. Теперь понятно, почему он так много пьет.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater
Где там
gauge.
радио-то?
This is precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Ты про ботинки узнала?
Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Ну,
In the
все-таки
cabin,
сам
you see
позвонить.
a set of steering levers.
Блин, надо было сначала туда позвонить. Ну ладно. Главное, что мы сделали хорошее дело, насколько это вообще возможно. Сначала с детьми поговорить, потом... Дети вроде не сложные. С ними разговаривать легче. А потом пойдем к палатке. Палатка и церковь. Потом все остальное. Чё ведро уже который раз светится? Почему? Потому что без пакета подходил.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt.
You're bad with kids.
Да, есть такое.
Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game.
Понятно, с ними бесполезно. Пока что бесполезно с мелкими пацанами что тут решать. Ну или вообще бесполезно. Аким не помогает. Сейчас поговорим с женщиной, потом с палаткой.
A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh, hello there.
It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing.
Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little louder.
So should you.
Ну да.
I don't know, some kind of a store? Maybe a general store? Look, man, fuck the hat.
Ну да.
What did she just say? That's not how a civilian is supposed to address an officer of the law.
Авторитет.
Lots of feeling.
Ладно.
Feel it up. Way up.
Чего? Ох уж эти проверки.
You're saying it really loud, but it's not coming out right. Maybe add more indignation. More. More.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Напугала я.
The lieutenant is watching the scene unfold before his eyes, unsure how to react.
Короче, истеричка
The
мы...
girl looks down, slowly curling into a ball. That's it. You've earned it. Start crying. Life's hard.
Блин. Плакать начать плакать вместе с ней. Я могу начать плакать. Нет, не хочу.
The words are stuck in your throat. All that comes out is
Я
tears
заплакал.
pouring down your face. The young woman has kept her eyes trained on her wires, waiting for the lecture to end. But now she hears sobbing. Looking up, she sees a grown man on the wrong side of 40, his face bloated from alcohol, and God knows what else. Not so quietly, crying.
Что сейчас случилось?
This isn't really about the hat, is it? I swear to God, I will always wear a hat from now on.
Просто...
You know, you're not the only one with issues. I self-medicate. Shit. Life's a horror, you know? Crying helps, though. Get it out your system. And then maybe we can talk. Okay? I'll be here.
Ким, чё? Прости, я заплакал. Я наорал на девочку, потому что она без шапки, а потом заплакал.
Do you want to talk about what just happened? Normally, I'm opposed to discussing one's feelings, especially on duty. But I think this is an exceptional case. So, what do you think happened?
Я сорвался.
Glad to hear it was minor. Can you go on?
Так, чё? Я супер... Угу. Да, извини, Ким.
Then let's go.
Еще раз.
So, like, seriously, what's eating you, man?
There is a hint of pity in her eyes. Her hair is dyed blonde, with dark roots showing, and she wears thick black eyeliner. Most men wouldn't call her pretty. There is a manliness to her, a coarseness.
I was wondering when you would come around. What's up?
Поговорим по душам с незнакомой девушкой, окей.
What is it?
Вот это корысть и свои личные интересы превыше блага всего общего.
Oh, really? So, the thing that's got you crying in front of strangers is the slow pace of social progress. No, it sounds like you just got chick issues. Well, think about... Anyway, was there something else?
Как тебя зовут?
A cell. Okay, it's Burger.
A very common name. You have little reason to doubt that's her real name. But she's not all that surprised by this cop show questioning, is she?
Что у тебя за устройство?
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone.
Что такое?
A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice. The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble. Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium. Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck. Or really be a Elysium going kind of person. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means either. That's cool. Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps?
Немного не вижу логики. Фраз, который выдает Дебуа, ну да ладно. Просто опыт хочу выбить. Микрофон.
Okay. Recording, I guess.
Что именно ты записываешь?
I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. My boyfriend sold them.
Понятно.
I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
Everything checks out, sire.
The musicians in the Elysium used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain.
Понятно. Экспериментальная музычка у вас там, я так понимаю.
Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device, the thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels childish, very useless all of a sudden.
Take this, your code.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Да, дай ты ей шапку, у меня же есть шапка.
Yeah, maybe you were right about the hat. That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Elysium or something. Stupid. It's really not going to be a Elysium, that's for sure. Yeah, Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room. Music stuff, mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. And there's piles of it. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. I can take the cold. Go ahead.
The device is still warm from her touch and heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo, Omicron, adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside, the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands. She looks you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup. The wind howls. She remains silent. It's real. Tell her.
What is? I know. I'll stick to it.
There is little you can do to help her now. But given the chance, you feel like you should. There is something about her. A weightiness.
So, thanks, I guess, for the psych session. I guess that means we're even?
She means your little talk before, after your breakdown. It's all right, she means to say. You returned the favor.
It's supposed to become like a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Elysium. Except that, yeah. You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. Synthesizers and tape consoles, microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that.
Музыка без гитар. Как так? Так не бывает. Ладно, шучу.
You see clear, beautiful, violent flashes of light. Light cutting through a smoke-filled darkness. That is what the future will look like. If it ever comes.
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments.
Чё по
You
кругу-то
see
пошли?
clear, beautiful, violent flashes of light. Light cutting through a smoke-filled darkness. That is what the future will look like.
I know. It's not my idea. Andre and the boys found the place. It was supposed to be deserted, but now they can't even take it. Hey, you two are cops.
Нет, мы полицейские.
Okay, well, maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys, because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right?
Конечно, поговорю.
They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. Was there something else? Go ahead. Well, it's just questioning, right? You're just questioning me. It's what cops do. Once or twice, yeah. I'm sorry I haven't had the Revachol experience they get east of the river. Rich people. Rich people are east of the river. Bet they like it that way.
You keep them rich.
Ну да.
The usual. I had a shitty run as a teenager. You know, drinking, getting into fights. The ugly stuff that happens when you move out your parents' place at 13. In Forberg.
Interesting term. Time to glean some knowledge.
Is this a rhetorical question?
Forberg, not in Forberg, is a massive banlieue south of Jamrock Quarter. It is the largest ghetto in Revachol, possibly the world.
My dad was a drunk. Plus, I guess I just wanted to drink too, you know. Get my party on.
Отжигать, ага. Посмотри на меня.
She nods very cautiously.
Ладно.
Okay, bye.
Теперь можно идти к пацанам. Чего у меня так много всего? Мне кажется. Так, лейтенантки сраки позаботься. Холодильник. Ну пойдемте к пацанам.
Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
А я нет, да?
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Что ж, посидим в палатке с молодежью, узнаем про музыку. Что они там задумали? Сегодня очень насыщенно у нас все. Что, после палатки закончим или дальше будем играть? Нормально, у них тут музончик играет.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Значит, все-таки там что-то должно быть. Окей, хорошо. Что, поехали?
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Пожать руку.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Cell Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
Неплохо.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
Да, это именно это и значит.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Honest for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
Да чё извиняться, говно место.
Ah, so you've met her. Good. Yeah, It's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
Наркоманы.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face. Don't fall for it.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
То есть вы такие типа музыканты без наркотиков. Интересное сочетание.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that! The word!
And sadly, yeah, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Никаких наркоманов.
Yes, yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Музыка и культурный центр — это лучше, чем наркоманский притон.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that. Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
Конечно, беру задание, даже думать не буду.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Я пока не был внутри.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation. I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while. Of course! Noid, give the officer the key. All right.
Я не поймаю.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly. The speed freak nods to you.
Все, я теперь в доску свой.
A respectful nod. You proved something here.
Not long. Like a week, maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Ну, типа, такое себе.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. I guess it wasn't very hardcore of us to just lock them in like that. Me too. I shouldn't have that kind of power over another person. I'm not the one with the violence monopoly here. You are. I'm glad that key is out of my hands now.
Ладно.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Да я не слышу за них.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericanassian church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no? You're totally wrong about that.
The Pericanassian church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericanassian posse.
Христианство тоже
Love
любит
is the
любви.
relay out of death. We dance. Love is hardcore.
Unity. Unity.
Ладно,
Make
пацаны.
some noise for my Insulindian posse.
Потом сообщу.
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
Так, я отвлекся. Зачем нужны слова? Это же музыка.
Feels good.
Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
Yeah! Ya-коп, the place to be.
He seems
Затусили
ecstatic
с
that you share
молодыми.
his vision
Окей.
of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew. I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Yeah! Let it out! Let the disco happen! Bring the disco into this world! Get this church shit on, and then dance there, motherfucker!
Yes. What? Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water. Oh.
Дистиллированная вода.
It's the one they sell at the fuel station. The what now?
Защит ультра. Что-то как-то странно.
Oh, the old Ultra. I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Can't even breathe. Yes, that's all Nosefed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosefed is the shit.
Короче, они что-то нюхают, нюхальщики.
Yes.
Ну ладно. То есть мы выгоняем одних наркоманов ради других наркоманов.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Ether? I don't smell ether. Do you, Noid?
No.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. It doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, their jaws stay put, and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now.
Мутные пацаны. Мутные. Что-то мне кажется, что они хотят лабу делать, а не веселушки.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Логика. Шанс 8%. %. Немыслимая логика. Надо 16, а у меня 4. Жесть.
Wow, so someone's been a little boring.
Что?
Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
Мне нравятся стандарты и нормы. Да, вот это.
No need to be defensive. The regularity, the brownness, the cut and dry have their appeal. A very standard appeal.
Я просто пытаюсь сделать свою работу.
Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax.
А что плохо быть в плохом... Что плохо в простом копе?
Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even, a nation of regular law officials that you belong to. It comes, of course, with the usual benefits.
Я буду просто
Done
копом.
and done. No actual communiques will be sent.
Посмотрим, что это даст. Мысль новая. что нужно, чтобы ее подумать. А у нас есть еще место для мыслей? Обычный служитель, внутренняя империя у нас немножко помрет ненадолго. Разблокируем. Да. Час 2 минуты. Внутренняя империя помолчит у нас, да? У меня есть какие-нибудь шмотки на логику попытаться прокинуть? Я бы кинул в логику. Или еще шмотки посмотреть на логику. А я кинул, да? Кинул. Шмотки на логику. Мне очень интересно, что я за анализ могу там провести. Логика. Логика.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Ну вот больше шанс.
A number of things don't add up. Let's take a look.
Давай.
How about gather around, kids?
Давай.
The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Their would-be leader is less amused.
But you still are. What happened?
Со мной случился я. Диско. Я бы сказал, со мной случился я. Я так и скажу.
That's a real downer.
The young speed freak is silent. He senses something is wrong.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
Где его братишка?
What do you mean, friend? It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
Ты чё, офигел?
And of all cellular-based life, what's your point, Lawbringer?
Ты тупой, ты что, не знаешь, что дистиллированная вода...
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. He said it was for his nose. What more do you want? Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether. No shit.
Ну да.
That's... Come on, that's... I meant to say, not true.
don't need drugs to be hardcore.
Shut the fuck up, Egg.
Он начал материться, он теряет самообладание.
What exactly is it you know? What do you mean, do?
There's resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing. The optimal way to go about this would be indifference. It begins by you telling him you don't care about any of this.
Really? Or else?
He thinks for a moment, then opens his mouth, but closes it again.
Things are just way too hard for an entrepreneur in this city. It's not like we're not going to turn the church into the wickedest club in East Revachol.
Because we are! We totally are!
We just got to turn it into a speed lab first.
Я же сказал лаборатория.
You know, to get our foot in the door.
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. No, man, they're spooky all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
So, what now?
This is it. Judgment time.
Конечно, правосудие. В смысле вы хотите... Попозже.
We can continue on an amiable path, right? No more misunderstandings, no more lies. Before you go, is there anything else you need? As always, we'll be right here.
Надо поговорить с Кимом. Вообще, хотелось бы, чтобы открыли клуб вместо церкви. Это было бы норм. Сажать пацанов, да блин, зачем? Ну они же еще пока ничего не сделали. Правда? Вот. Тем более девчонка с ними, жалко девчонку вместе с ними сажать. У них еще жизнь впереди целая, может быть, хорошая. Сажать я их точно не хочу. Сейчас посмотрим, скажет ли что-нибудь на таким. Поговори со мной.
Yes.
О. У меня такая сильная логика, что я могу это раскрутить.
You pick only what's left of your frontal cortex, but no compelling
What about me? Good.
Ладно, пойдем-ка уже. А ты мне ничего не можешь рассказать про лабу?
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean. Shoot.
Расскажи мне побольше о своих коллегах, издалека зайдем.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
Просто ответь на вопрос.
Sorry. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on.
To the cops.
Me? I'm a silver bird.
Ничего не понятно.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but... I did, and I'm sorry. For what it's worth, which isn't much.
This is why I didn't go into the tent. Typical delinquency.
Понятно, Кизраги сразу все понял. Капец он умный.
You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I even tried not to lie to you.
Indeed, she merely tried to omit the truth instead.
I know. I should have been able to control them, and I will in the future. I promise. May I ask, what did you tell them? Oh, right. That's wise. Take your time.
В смысле не торопись? У вас тут фигня происходит. Пойдемте. Мне нужен музыкальный клуб. Мне не нужны наркоманы. Так, в центральный вход пока не хочу заходить. Ага, там у нас повешенный, мертвый. А тут у нас что? А, ну все понятно. Ладно, заходим в церковь.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here.
Понятно.
He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Revachol ZOC, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb.
Прям на обложку.
Voila. Looks very modern.
Круто. У меня было секретное задание сделать свои бумаги более стильными. Круто.
You're part of the future brigade now, and so is your formerly humdrum ledger. Neon, baby.
Класс.
The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city.
Что там за чудики у нас в церкви живут? У меня открывается второе дыхание, так что... Ирин, вы как-то это контролируете, что ли? Процесс. Сейчас посмотрим. Хорошо.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore.
Ладно.
Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him tense up next to you. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
Чё, мне ничего не получается сегодня? Блин, через раз как-то.
Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. Filled with vague shapes of woodwork, the sense of a great height. There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
Ничего не увидел я. О, чё?
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
Что здесь происходит? Я случайно нажал на шарф, ну и ладно. Болевой порог уменьшает. Теплый шарф. Визуальный анализ надо найти. Внутренняя империя и так страдает, так что возьмем, брат. Потом болевой порог. Вообще это другой отыгрыш. Сейчас мы к этому парню вернемся. Одежда. Эмпатия. Восприятие. Сколько у меня эмпатии вообще уже в целом сейчас? 7. Так будет 8. А восприятие у меня 5. Ну, для баланса. Пусть будут сапоги.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed.
Пока ничего не будем делать. Туда мы тоже пока не пойдем. Попробуем поговорить. Потом нажмем. Сейчас поговорим, потом нажмем.
Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
Ну, нажмем.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality.
Ну, потерпите, лейтенант Кицураги.
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. I know it's hard to admit that you got a problem. I was like you once. Couldn't take an honest look into my own heart and see I was in pain.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
The only thing we need to talk about is how the mother can really help you, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game?
Up there, Holmes. I am, at least in part, Holmes. Into the mother's love burns away the cruel distinctions of the body. Haven't you ever met a Mex before? Cabron. Surprising number of us around Rabbit Shop. You know, I'm not so sure myself anymore. Don't really matter though. Aboyadero? No, Holmes. I don't go in for that kind of thing. It's all about surrendering to the mother now. Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First-timers are always nervous. Oh man, I would love to see that statue. I'm sure I'd be trespassing if the church was in use. But it's not, hombre. I done my share of illegal shit. Used to be in a gang, the whole deal. But even memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. Convenience has got nothing to do with what goes on up there.
There's a profound longing in that gaze, like he wants to be one with whatever is up there, shrouded in darkness.
Do you remember your name, sir?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to assert some control over the conversation.
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there. A way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. Oh, that's no simple question, Essa. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service. I heard that before, Way, and I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night?
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it.
Почему дважды? Ну ладно.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
Понятно.
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, Way. It didn't belong to me. I think they were. A long time ago. I had to shed them like skins to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them, I don't need them anymore.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
The Aita is Grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Ese. You just have to wait until she comes back, or...
Or search through her radio computer.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Think they scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
Ну ладно. Я тебя не понимаю, но... Все может быть. Ну что, кнопочки будем нажимать? Ну давайте.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March.
Сначала воспроизведем.
A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat, is this the personal log? The filament you have inserted into the core. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
No. Still no. Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Nothing happens.
Пойдем пароль узнавать. Знаешь пароль?
Oh, hey, wait. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love. Too many times, essay. You need it for something.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. I think we're done here, essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
Да дело не в этом. Ким, дело не в этом.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Может еще.
Good afternoon, Fortress accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? The company on whose name the terminal you're currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCF produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Концептуальненько.
I wouldn't know. I'm only here for passwords. Any other questions?
Ладно.
Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons.
Печать.
The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church, the door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
February 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. 7th of February 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
February 51. Bought the antenna. Had some problems setting it up. Called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. Artists, yet again. Harassing citizens, stealing badges, occupying public spaces with installations, like the one here. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated if she knew how to set up all this machinery.
У нас готова мысль. А я не могу. Понятно.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real, and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence, with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
Ну, я думаю, что это просто особенность архитектуры здания. Вряд ли что-то сверхъестественное будет.
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good. I don't want anyone distracting me from my work.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping-ping energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Сейчас будем ругаться, судя по всему.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Regular law official.
Обычный служитель закона.
You've done it, Harry. Whatever else you are, you're also boring now. It was not easy. You spent most of your life trying to funk up every nook and cranny of your personality. When someone says something political, the first 3 thoughts in your head are a ludicrous hodgepodge of communism, fascism, and stock tips. When they ask you why you did something, it's superstardom, apocalypse, or the mea culpas of the flagellant cop monk. It's not easy reaching for the 4th option, the normal one. But you have. And now, you're not just crazy. You're also boring.
Что-то я насчет этой мысли не уверен, то есть... У нас лимиты повысились всех прокачанных навыков на 3. Лимиты... чтобы вставлять что-то в лимиты, надо что-то иметь. А минус к чему там минус? Трепет и внутренняя империя, что-то мне очень не хочется. Забуду-ка я. Теперь я знаю, как это работает. Ладно. Так, опс. Что там он написал? Решение. Получилось, Гарри, как бы ты еще не... Получилось, Гарри. Кем бы ты еще не был, ты вдобавок стал скучным. Надо сказать, это было сложно. Всю свою жизнь ты старался извратиться, извратить все до единого. Что-то я сегодня совсем нечитабельный. Ща. Или видно все, и можно не читать. Я бы не читал, если видно. Блин. Трепет. Ладно, трепет. Ну все тогда. А почему я не ношу шапку? Потому что скорость реакции риторика падает, а риторика у нас маловато. Я бы хотел, у меня 2 очка, я бы хотел одно потратить в... Хотел бы потратить в... Даже не знаю. Самообладание, может? Или... Нет. В концептуализацию. Все. Сходим пока сюда, пусть она там направляет свой компьютер.
In white, silver, and apricot veils, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. A dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
Но не буду я вставать на колени.
Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you. As if under a microscope. The woman looks down at you standing there. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Лейтенант крестится.
Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. Unknown. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, Theriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Death, life again. After the whirl, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in DeLorean sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force.
Старый мне больше нравится.
So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
Попробуем энциклопедию потыкать.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Seren, modern-day Sir Laclais, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Draped in ancient sadness, are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed?
Yes! Big bummer! Boring history! Gotta keep it light, man! Keep it moving! Get fucked up instead!
The past is a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away.
Fuck this pain, Bratan! It's unhealthy!
No, you must know. Exactly. Back out of this corner of your mind by choosing the bottommost option. Many things draped in ink.
Yes! Big bummer! Boring history! Gotta keep it light, man! Keep it moving! Get fucked up instead!
Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the ante-DeLorean court, A court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supremwindi. Altogether, 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vesper Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress, on an emptied-out plaza, with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well. Very midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, There was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her terriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity. Suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Freighter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
Ну, это точно нет.
That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in. Yes. I wasn't sure before, but this must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez. It's called the Small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers. There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? A pang of guilt. The lieutenant is leaving something out.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it, why it was conducted or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now. Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Ладно, неплохо. Долго мы эту штуку рассматривали. Ну давай, почини вот там свой компьютер.
What is it? I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager.
No. Yes. No, you're right. I'm not. You really like those questions, don't you? I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out. I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Серьезно?
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
Exactly. Very true. That's what I've been aiming for. That's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade. Strange things may flourish in the dark.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning, her hands typing hundreds of commands into the machine.
Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. I use the AR-1 as my RAIN prefix processing unit.
Чего?
RAIN prefect, my radio computer. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. On the front, the unified front of radio waves, licensed and controlled by Lintel in the East Insulindic region. It's all around us. That's what on air means.
Like love.
I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieux dedicated to that sort of thing.
Да не собираюсь я ничем таким заниматься.
She liked telling me this. It calmed her nerves.
I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core, the light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
It's not just rudeness. It really is hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do, and you're not helping.
They are connected to my RAIN prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great.
Что насчет музыки?
What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Yeah, like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they?
Мне дали достижение Я-копы, что-то там де арте, ну типа то, что я концептуальный коп. Арткоп. За арткопа дали достижение, короче.
Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music. This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. Take a guess, why don't you?
Да я знаю, я знаю.
Bingo! That's exactly what they're up to.
Ah, wonderful. Now this house of worship is also going to be a drug lab. Always something fascinating happening in tents.
So that's settled. Great. No nightclubs in the church then. The Swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks.
Ну, короче, она долго будет работать, и фиг, что мы получим. Но, на самом деле, я не хочу пацанов. Ну, типа, сажать в тюрьму я их не буду. Но... Ай, да я не хочу...
Yes?
Случайно. Случайно нажал. Да... Очень интересная информация. Так, ладно, будем разгонять шпану. Надо их выгнать. Может, выгнать их из палатки и забрать себе наркоту, все продать. Может, когда-нибудь найдется тот, кто ее будет покупать. Продал всю наркоту и бухло. И мне хватит на кроссовки и на штаны. Надо 100 бачей, 100 реалов. Три часа мы уже играем, что продолжаем. Я бы с парнями поговорил и на сегодня бы уже закончили. Пока что закончили. Так, с тобой все кончено, с тобой. Скучный арткоп-центрист. Скучный арткоп-центрист. Забавно. Надо будет в следующей партии играть за пьющего мускулистого коммуниста.
Hi again. So, how are things going? And? What happened? Oh man, the crab man you mean? Who is he? What did you think? Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem?
Yeah, Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
I don't know, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it.
Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light! Yeah!
Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Did you ask her about the nightclub?
What a pity! That's my favourite thing in the world! And she doesn't like it at all!
A shame. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam? And into a laser-lit future of dance and unity?
Вы еще это...
Unity! Dance!
And you can't just evict her?
Look at you, Honor Man!
Вообще-то да.
No, Noid. He's right. Maybe we've approached it the wrong way after all. I'm sure there's a workaround. We can make a deal not to bother her. If that's okay with her, we only want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music.
The lines in the dark exist! Coexist!
At least Crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard. He'll understand.
Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. And the programmer, does she like Nordic dance music?
Egghead cannot believe what you just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for a moment, but then he returns to the full swing of it.
No worries. We'll figure it out. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? If it's all okay with you, what do you think? Oh man, but the drug lab was like an integral part of getting the club going.
For me, it was my favourite part. Chemistry's great. Besides, imagine all the drugs we could do if we had our own drug lab. I mean, Anodic music is great and all, but drugs, they make you feel really good. When did you last feel really, really good? Pull out that stick, Lawman. You'd absolutely love drugs. They'll make you feel transcendent.
Не буду я оттуда ее выгонять.
Excellent. Good luck,
Вообще,
my friend.
алло.
Yes. What?
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Yes. What? It's the one they sell at... It does. Told you we have a smell problem.
Почему у меня не всплывает диалог?
Ether? No.
He sniffs the air. It doesn't. However, their breathing is regular. Their jaws stay put and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now.
Yeah. Good to have. Oh, it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Где?
Yes? What's the deal? But do let us know if something changed. Goodbye, officer.
As though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical
Случайно
secrets.
пропустил диалог.
Hardcore! It's hardcore! Skibber danger. I am the rearranger.
Your cop training did not prepare you for this. What to do? Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think?
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Lloyd. Good. It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading. A sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
Good. What did you want to know? Simplicity was brought to us by a classical solarist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing. Not alone. Many people are thinking the same thing right now. There's a gathering at the Elysium. The beat is the same for all. Yes, you're the 23rd person to get it right, and I've asked 23 people. Looks like it's a dead guy smiling to the entire human race. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. Present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats. Or I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for? The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this
Зачем мне
is
эти
by getting us
задания?
into the church. Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align. I suck at socializing, man. Even now, our sign synchronization is way off. But I'll see what I can do. Nah. Still strongly out of sync. Stage gamma disalignment. You heard me.
Есть идея, как с ним быть на одной волне. Даже так, наверное, да? Что-то у меня... Вот как-нибудь так.
Huh? I see you're here again. Offside, man. Did I mention getting us into the church would help? Nah. You heard me.
Дело не выдержит. К сожалению. Ладно. Нет, нет. Где там? Где моя нормальная рубаха? Понабрал у них каких-то левых заданий еще. Блин, надо было сразу их выгнать из палатки. Хотя цепочка квестов, а так бы я ее типа прервал. Надеюсь, будет шанс забрать у них наркоту. Ну, типа, пусть ищут способы открыть клуб по-другому. Без наркоты. Церковь. Так. У нас 2 очка. Одежда. Куча одежды. И задание. Да ё-моё, Кирилл, что ты хочешь? Кирилл уехал в Петербург и нашел там то ли галерею какую-то, посвященную... Нашел галерею, посвященную игре, ну там типа с отсылками. То есть... Ладно, сейчас я скину попозже. Забавно. Забавно. Выставка работ. Круто. Попозже скину. Так. Чё так много всего, и время уже игровое. Чё мне по данным? Честь 5. Моралист 10. А вообще не ультра. Жалкий коп, коп зануда. Ну вот, ну там не музей, по-моему, а библиотека. Ну да. Потом посмотрю. Ладно, будем сейчас заканчивать. Сейчас подведем легкие итоги. Так, мы полностью зачистили остров в плане предметов. Нашли труп рабочего, той женщины-пролетариатки. Взяли это дело, сообщили ей. Все вроде прошло в пределах рабочей ситуации, скажем так. Вот, потом пришли к церкви. В церкви тут творится какая-то фигня. Музыканты, наркоманы хотят открыть клуб и нарколабораторию. В церкви живет какой-то человек-краб почему-то. Какой-то, не знаю, отшельник, странный чувак. Молится там, клоняется в тишине. И какая-то женщина, ученый-программист, который пытается понять, почему теряются некоторые данные. И какая-то аномалия то ли из-за особого строения здания, то ли из-за чего-то. Вот. Это она и выясняет. А мы чем-то помогаем ребятам, хотя надо было их приструнить немножко. Ладно, какие-нибудь кицураги ничего не говорит, значит в целом все не так плохо, потому что, ну типа... Я смотрю, если какие-нибудь кицураги относительно неплохо ко всему относятся, значит не так уж и плохо все происходит. Мне вот интересно. У меня вот есть инструменты. Да. Алкоголь. Физиология, дух теряется. Немножко наркоты. Типа это как одноразовая шмотка. Или нет, непонятно. Так, заблокировано. А это надо оставить. Это тоже. Угу. Координация, конечно, минус. Ну да ладно. Минус пусть будут эти мысли. Короче, итоги вроде как подведены, надо заканчивать. Увидимся позже. Позже и попозже. Хотя что такое? Все. Будем, давайте. Да. Все, пока. До встречи в следующий раз. Ждите продолжения.